is Times Drive and I'm Joel Pereira. Now here on the show, if there's one thing we love, it's technology. Reason number one, it's cool. Reason number two, really popular technology has a strange habit of getting smaller and cheaper. Think about it. There was a time when a cell phone was solely the preserve of Richie Rich Gordon Gecko types. They hauled around these brick-like devices while undercutting the dollar and engineering food riots in the Ghana. The less fortunate among us had to make do with PCOs. Cut to today and you can order a loaf of bread on your cell phone because your baker or grocer has one too. Now there was a time when the technology we take for granted today like ABS or airbags or even power windows for example could only be found in large expensive cars like the Mercedes S-Class or the Bentley. Today however you can find the same technology in any small hatchback. Technology moves forward, which is why we're so excited about the Ford EcoSport. In the pantheon of car categories, the mini SUV is a recently invented animal, almost always based on a sedan platform, while conforming to the look and feel of an SUV. The EcoSport is small, it's less than the magic 4.2 meters long, yet it's pretty tall and sits wide on the road as an SUV should. You've got the huge maw-like grille designed to intimidate rickshaws and the little hatchbacks you see skittering about on our city streets. And while the design might seem a little busy, maybe a bit show-offish, we think it's a design that should warm the hearts of the Indian car buyer who we think go for this kind of thing. But perhaps the biggest bit of technology in the Ford EcoSport is also very small, the 1 liter engine with a turbo. Now when we heard that this car was coming with a 1 liter engine, jaws dropped and brows furrowed because seriously, 1 liter? That's what you get with an Alto. Till you turn it on and give it a bit of gas. Yep, it sounds about alright. If you were expecting a dinky, spluttering, two-stroke sounding engine, well, you've got another thing coming. Because this might be a 1 liter engine, but you also got a device attached to it that makes it all worthwhile. It's called a turbo. Ramming huge amounts of compressed air into the engine and extracting every last bit of fossil fuel energy, the EcoBoost engine is putting out a very respectable 125 bhp and 170 newtons of torque. Now those are proper horsepower numbers, the kind you'd get in a car with an engine at least 3/4 larger. Now this is an engine that's so small and so lightweight that you can basically fit it on an A4 sheet of paper. And yet you've got all the power you need. This is an engine that responds well and while driving in regular highway or city conditions feels like a much larger engine, not the tiny 1 liter motor that it actually is. Crashing you down to earth about how small this engine is when you hit the hills and the roads get windy. The EcoSport does not have a wide power band and you will need to switch to lower gears almost immediately to avoid losing boost. The best part is despite the decent performance and the rotty engine, you're still getting what is essentially very decent mileage. ARAI testing puts it down at almost 19 kilometers to a liter and driving around all day in a variety of conditions, we got close to 10. We were being a little naughty with this car, of course, which is why the figures are a little low. Now, should you just drive normally under standard conditions, you should get a mileage of about 12 to 13. But we're going to need to road test this car in regular traffic to find out. Now, 12 or 13 kilometers to a liter for a car of this size is not bad. Not bad at all. But kind of expected from the motor that won the Engine of the Year award last year. Now keeping with Ford's squeeze the mileage theme, attached to the EcoBoost engine is a 5-speed manual transmission, along which you've also got two more engine options. There's a 1.5 litre petrol with Ford's dual clutch power shift automatic and a 1.5 litre diesel, both of which are direct lifts from the existing Fiesta lineup. Now if there's one thing that Ford is famous for, it's ride and handling, and we're happy to report that the EcoSport doesn't really let us down. The suspension is pretty stiff and despite the height and SUV proportion, you can hit a corner hard and not expect bad things to happen, except for a bit of body roll, which is entirely manageable. Now, in case you were wondering how this car was going to do when things go bad with our roads, which is pretty much most of the time, the EcoSport should be fine with its 20 centimeter ground clearance and ability to drive over 55 centimeters of water. So, great engine, great handling, but for most people, the real business end of the car isn't the pointy bit at the front, but the interiors. And here too, Ford impresses us with its overall slickness. Overall space is not going to be a huge selling point for this car, but 4 full-grown adults will be able to sit pretty comfortably. What we loved are the driver's and shotgun seats. Now these are seats designed for driving, so they kind of envelop you, with plenty of bolstering on the sides, ensuring that you're not going to slide about when you go around a bend. The boot is pretty spacious as well. Now we're driving the top-end titanium version right now, and this car has technology coming out of its gills. You've got climate control and a really good stereo with USB and aux systems, parking sensors, auto-folding mirrors, ABS and airbags. Now since this is an SUV-ish type car, you're also getting things like hill descent control, which gives you 3 seconds of braking when your car decides that you're on a slope, allowing you to accelerate without rolling back. You've also got a pretty slick voice-activated interface system called Sync, which has been developed by Microsoft that controls your stereo, phone and climate control. Here's the best part, it actually works. And now finally, after I've gone through all the features of this car, what you've been waiting for since this car broke cover last year at the Auto Expo in Delhi is price. But sadly, we're going to have to keep you waiting a little bit longer. We got this car in the advanced press and media drive, and we only know the price once the EcoSport is officially launched in June. Now if we can throw our 2 bits in here, and we think that if, and this is a big if, Ford launched the EcoSport from a base price of about 6.5 lakh rupees all the way up to 9.5 lakh rupees, they'd have a winner on their hands. We're going to have to wait till June to find out.